So Nintendo of Canada has just announced a price change for a lot of Nintendo Switch items. This is supposed to occur on August 1st, 1 month from today, and though it is just referred to as a price change, it is very heavily speculated and basically confirmed by how they word it that this is a price increase. Now what's really interesting is that this does not seem to include the newly released Nintendo Switch 2, but rather older Switch products like the Switch 1, physical and digital Nintendo Switch 1 games, stuff like that. So this just came yesterday, June 30th, and this comes on newswire.ca. So that is basically an official Canadian website where websites can go on and basically deliver official statements. And so yes, this was confirmed to actually be by Nintendo. This wasn't just an article saying this is, from a source or an insider. This is actually Nintendo saying this. So it says, pricing for the original Nintendo Switch family of systems and products in Canada will change based on market conditions. Now that is where I say that this is basically all but confirmed. This is a price increase, not a decrease, and I will dig into that in a little bit. But it goes on to say these include Nintendo Switch, OLED model, Nintendo Switch Lite, physical and digital Switch games, and Switch accessories. It says other Nintendo Switch products, including Nintendo Amiibo and Nintendo Switch Online memberships, will also experience price changes. But this is important. It says, please note the pricing change does not apply to the Switch 2 system or Switch 2 accessories or software. And then it does say that the pricing information specific to the Canadian market will be shared at Nintendo's website on August 1st. Again, as I said, 1 month from today. Now, it's important where they say this price change is based off of market conditions. It is because of that people are very heavily speculating that this has to do with the US-Canada kind of trade dispute, the whole tariff situation. I mean, there are literally timelines online that outline this whole thing. It's kind of, there's a lot to it. But basically, this really kicked off in February, about 5 months ago, if you can believe it. US President Donald Trump has been issuing some tariffs on Canada, and since then, there's been a lot of back and forth. But yes, where we are at right now is that there are quite a bit of tariffs on Canada from the US. And so based off of these market conditions, this is increasing the price of the Nintendo Switch. Now, why this isn't affecting the Switch 2 is really anybody's guess, but what I really was curious about is, why is this whole trade war or tariff war between the US, why is this affecting Nintendo Switch prices? I mean, after all, the Switch, that comes from Japan at the end of the day. Well, the thing is, it's actually a bit more complicated than that. See, the US, they have tariffs not only on Canada, but also China and Vietnam, two big suppliers, it looks like, of Nintendo products, and therefore at least the original Nintendo Switch. Now, this would probably trigger fears that the Switch 2 price in the US is going to increase, so in Canada, all of a sudden for these countries like China and Vietnam, all of a sudden they kind of have to be lumped into this whole North American, cost structure. Essentially, for a country like China or Vietnam that is way outside of North America, they kind of want to keep the North American prices roughly the same. And at the same time, because of these tariffs, Nintendo Canada, they may raise the MSRP or the manufacturer's suggested retail price. And this would be to stay consistent with this higher North American or higher US cost structure. That is the way I understand it, but I mean, yeah, overall it's way more complicated than just one country has a tariff and so the other one is, suffering or vice versa. It's really complicated when you get into the fact that there are multiple countries here that are affected just in different ways. It's more than I can admittedly 100% wrap my brain around. This is all just kind of how I see things, how I understand it anyway. So yes, we are going to get this official price announcement for these products in Canada about a month from now on August 1st. We'll see exactly how much the Switch prices have gone up, hopefully not by much. And I don't know, I mean, as far as how this will or could affect the Switch 2, maybe we will see that in the days, weeks, or months ahead.